2020 had the lowest unemployment rate of almost anywhere in the country. I think it was like first or second. There's a reason that stadium's getting built. There's a reason that the arena's getting built. There's a reason that, like, we're going through the greatest growth in this city since 1920. There's a reason. And it's because our economy didn't go in the tank. Nowhere else this is going on. Very, very, very few places. They're just trying to pick up the pieces. So I think, to me, for those that do live here and you're about it, you have an advantage. We have some things now going on in Nebraska that we were, let's be honest, we're not really the coolest place to go, but it's an awesome place to live. You know, I got 2 little kids and I'm married, and me and my wife have Turbine as a business together. It's awesome. So I think when you're being an entrepreneur, you want to understand your assets and understand the advantages you have. It's all about competitive advantages. It's all about things that you can leverage that perhaps somebody else cannot. Before I keep going, I want to do this, guys. I don't want to just preach. I could sit here and talk for 2 hours because I got all kinds of stories I can tell you, and I would love to share with you about Turbine and all different things, but I'm very interested about what you're doing in whatever the things you're involved with, questions you have, stuff you don't understand. There's all kinds of misunderstandings about entrepreneurship and owners, and I mean, again, we're in this whole social, digital, video, mobile app space. We're kind of the techie digital marketing communications. That's what Turbine does. I have a graphic design background. So I'm going to open it up. So guys, any questions so far that I've been talking about, or anything that you're wanting to understand more in regards to what I'm doing, or even share what you guys are doing? Somebody's got to speak up. Go for it.
What was your original business?
My first business was Ajalon, is the name of it, A-I-J-A-L-O-N, and it was a website development and marketing company. And my product was, how many of you have edited a website before or made changes to a website? Anybody here? Okay. So for most of the people out there, it's a difficult exercise. You have to know technology and programming and stuff like that. Now it's a little different. There's a lot more things that make it easier, things like WordPress. So my first company built a product that allowed my customers that were not techie at all to update their own website. It was called Gravel. So we ended up having 400 or 500 sites that we had, and we had a licensing and subscription fee like a piece of software. And then we provided branding, marketing, and advertising solutions with it. So that was my first company. Then I had that for 7 years. I was down here in the Haymarket, grew it, 15 employees, and then I sold it. That's what I did. Come on, guys, you gotta be. Tell me what's going on. What are you guys talking about in class? That's what I want to know.
Give him some ideas of the businesses that you're looking at doing, because then he can kind of direct his ideas for him. Be brave.
Bar grid.
What was it again?
It's called bar grid.
Bar grid. What's bar grid?
It's a way of tracking, or not tracking, but seeing the traffic of the downtown bars and that sort of thing.
Sweet. That's cool. So, is it preliminary idea? Have you gotten feedback from anybody if it's a good idea?
Yeah, we're still preliminary stages on this.
Cool.
I'm just learning these as they're speaking, because they were supposed to work on this over spring
That's
break
sweet.
and get to thinking about it. So,
I mean, clearly, if it's done well and it's different and unique, absolutely. The community for creating intelligent applications through your phones and stuff like that, I mean, that's right now the hot commodity. That's the thing you do. Any others? Ideas? Doesn't have to be techie stuff. Anything.
come on.
If you don't, I'm going to give you my idea, but go ahead. All right, guys.
We'll tell you our idea.
Good.
So we're making a company for students on campus to go eat after they go out if they're studying late. It'll be called Night Bite. Just be located on campus. You can use your end card.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, what would make it different from any other place they would hang out?
Well, you can put it on your parents' card. Really late.
That's always helpful.
It's open till 3. It's located on campus, so the freshmen in the dorms who go out have something on campus, so they don't have to walk all the way to O Street. And the people that are on O Street that are coming back, like people in the Greek system or if you live in the dorms, they have something on campus. It's just convenient. Or if you're just staying in, it's really close.
So that, right now, I'm guessing, there's not anything on campus that's open till late. Is that
No,
correct?
it basically like open up shortly after all the food places at the union close.
Oh, sweet.
Because once they close, it'll be open during the week for people that study late at like CBA or they want to have a quick bite.
Why in the heck why has nobody done it? That's actually a really good idea, because I agree, that was the issue when I was in school too, it's like,
Nothing
that was
new.
open, that was it. And not everybody does want to leave campus necessarily. Good idea. So to me, you're off, so if you're thinking through an idea, you know, you look at your SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So in your case, yeah, what are the threats would be, would the university have any sort of rules or regulations, or is it possible to be able, would it have to be done in conjunction with the university, considered to be on grounds or on campus?
Well, I think we kind of discussed working with the university to get the sponsors, so like Valentino's, Pepsi, to serve those kinds of products, so that it'd all be like UNL focused.
Cool.
I guess.
Cool. So then, the question would be, if you could somehow negotiate this, so it's not just an idea you pass off to the university. I mean, in the sense, and the reason I'm giving this, and this may not be possible with your idea, but, so whenever you've got this great idea, and you're going to someone, and in some cases, they may hold all the cards. So the university's clearly, they're gonna need, they own the land. They're gonna be the ones that work with you on providing the beverages and perhaps the sponsors that would be there to provide the food. So then it becomes, as you as the entrepreneur, how do you receive some sort of financial benefit for coming up with that idea? And that would be the challenge, I would imagine. No, it's good. I love the idea, it's good. But I think for you guys then, the part that, the advice I would say to you is, in whatever idea you have, so let's say you're going to someone or telling someone your idea and what you're doing and how it's going to be done and some of that stuff, depending upon the individual. I mean, usually with your friends you're probably okay, but nevertheless, if you're very serious, you get somebody to sign an NDA. You know what an NDA is? Non-disclosure agreement. It binds them to not talk about it or use it, or, and depending upon what you put in there, you're telling them what you're doing, but by golly, they can't steal your idea. So depending upon the type of thing you're doing, I mean, right now when you're going through class, that's cool and you do what you're doing, but if it gets really serious and you're trying to get cash to do this, then you don't mess around. And that's when you take it very seriously, so that you don't get into a situation, because I know some really, really seasoned entrepreneurs. One guy that's a close friend of mine had an enormously amazing idea that actually happened, and he didn't do his due diligence, and he lost the idea, and it was millions of dollars worth of intellectual property that he lost. So, I've learned over time, and I'm not a real heavy legal guy, I'm a shake hands kind of person, trusting of most, that when you get into those things, you want to make sure you protect the asset. So I think of your idea as an asset. Do you have a question?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if you'd kind of go in depth, since you're just talking about the NDA stuff, how you get a patent and what's the best way to easily get those sorts of things?
Sure. Generally speaking, there's two things. Now, I'm not a patent attorney, but there's trademarks, copyrights, and patents. And I'm probably going to goof this up, but I'll take a shot at it. Is, at least from my understanding, I have a patent attorney and a guy that I use anytime I'm dealing with intellectual property protection. More or less in most cases, like if I do something on my website or like the message and so forth, there's a given copyright that is established whenever I sit and produce that message. Now, in terms of trademark, that has to do a lot with the usage. We do a lot with like logos and stuff like that and branding elements, so that they can't use your logo somewhere else. You see the TM sometimes next to a logo that's really prominent, like Nike or Pepsi or Coca-Cola. Now, the patent, so that's more of a mark, and the copyright is a message. Now we're talking about an actual physical idea. So, I'm going to go back to Mashable and see if they've got it. So, let's see if they've got it going on. Apple filed a patent for a smart pen.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Can I find it? Can I find it? I'm not going to love you here. So I think the key is, what you usually have to do is have a lawyer help you. Whether it's, I know there's lawyers with legal services and there's some stuff here so they can help you. You have great resources at your disposal here at the university, and they can help you file that application for a patent. And there's all sorts of logistics to make sure that that's done properly. Now, what's gotten more complicated now is that because of things like URLs and vanity, handles, or your username on Twitter, all that stuff. It's like there's all this protection you have to have as an organization to make sure that you can own all those things and have all those things, or make a case that someone took yours and you got to go get it. So there's a lot of back and forth. So you need a lawyer by far to help sort of navigate that process so it doesn't get mucky. But if you have a patent, it has to be very specific, big time. So like I'm right now in the process of applying for, it's through New Tech Ventures, it's In Motion.
In Motion? Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to be applying for a grant there for
good.
Turbine. So we're now going to, maybe some like you, I got a software product idea again. So now we're going to take that and go through that process of application, getting funding, filing any patents, getting any intellectual property protection, get it all packaged together, get it bundled, and then get it ready to a point where either I can bring it to market or I go get investors and get additional capital to really blow it up. Haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. All I know is we got an idea. I'm trying to have people poke holes in it to see if it sucks. Because that's the other part of it, is when you have an idea and you might think it's the greatest idea ever, go to like 4 people and tell them your idea and see if they'll tell you if it's stupid or not. Because you want that. You basically, as an entrepreneur, you need to force yourself to constantly get criticized. Constantly have people like tell you things you don't want to hear. That's hard. Because as an entrepreneur, it's kind of like you love what you do and you love what you've created, but the only way that gets better is by people telling you how it can get better. So let me find that Apple thing again to get a kick out of this. There it is. Ha-ha!
I
So
heard
there's a
about
patent. Now, Apple has this way of like filing patents and never using them to like get people to be confused about what they're really going to do. So who knows? I have no idea. This could be like totally stupid, but there's a process of how those patents become public when they've been filed. And this recently just became public that it was filed. And I was like, oh my gosh, Apple's going to do a smart pen or something. And who knows? They have one for a TV. They have one for a watch. I don't know. It's all kind of, we never really know what they're going to do. So that's a great question, man.
You have about 10 minutes, just so you
Okay.
know.
Any other questions? I'll tell you a little bit more about Turbine, but I want to make sure I've answered questions so far. Okay? All right. So the last company I have right now, or the latest one I have,